Headed down the shore? Skip the hassle. Let Beach Caddy handle the heavy lifting. Bellhop and beach cart rentals are available in Ocean City, Sea Isle, Avalon, Stone Harbor, and Wildwood. Use the promo code Jimbo for 10% off bellhop and cart rentals. Beach Caddy takes the stress out of your Jersey Shore trip. Go to beachcaddy.app. Use the promo code Jimbo for 10% off your move in, move out bellhop service and beach cart rentals. Best beach carts at the Jersey Shore. What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly Sports History for June 27th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Friday edition of the podcast, a feel-good Friday, coming at you down in Virginia, getting ready to go do some golfing. I do apologize if you hear the lawnmowers or the leaf blowers or whatever in the background. It poured here last night, so they're drying out the course, getting things ready for everybody today. But it is a feel-good Friday. We have a big show like we always do. I guess let's get started with the bad, though, first. We have to talk Phillies. Good news is they scored a run. Bad news is that was all they did, losing 2-1. They went 26 consecutive innings without scoring a run. That is the longest streak in their history since 2010. Now, that team did make it to the NLCS. Not saying that this team will, but it's a shame because Christopher Sanchez was balling out and they could not take advantage of it. I'll get into Topper here in a minute, but 4 hits yesterday, 15 for the series. And the fact that your pitching staff, starters and relievers, only gave up 5 runs and you don't win a game, you only score one yourself, that's a problem. Now, I know I said before that the team that we just saw 26 consecutive scoreless innings is this team, as well as the team that beat the Mets. But it kind of makes you wonder at this point, are the Mets that bad and that in much of a free fall right now? That was an anomaly. Uh, I don't know. And then you got the manager who just seems like he's sitting in church on Sunday, uh, making questionable decisions, putting Sanchez back out. Yes, they were able to get out of it, but you put Max Lazar in a situation where could have certainly gone south for him. I don't know. This weekend in Atlanta will certainly be telling. Mick Abel on the mound tonight. But again, I'm split because I get that this team is inconsistent. Lots of teams in baseball are inconsistent, but you scored 1 run in an entire series. And I know Houston has some good pitching, but that seems to be the MO of this team. Good pitching, they can't get anything done. So I need to see what they do here this week against Atlanta. Not ready to give up yet, but it certainly is not a good situation. So we're halfway through the season, and it's a good time to go back and reflect on my bold predictions from the beginning of the season to see how they're playing out. Phillies are 47-34, a half game back of the Mets right now. 13 games over 500 at this point. I mean, if you take the long view of it, it's not that bad. But let's see where I landed on some of these predictions. And I'll be honest, not good. Uh, I said Zach Wheeler would be the Cy Young winner this season. He's certainly pitching capable of winning the Cy Young, but Paul Skeens is just outstanding. I said there'd be a big trade deadline move. The jury's still out on that one as we're starting to get into July and approach the trade deadline. I said the 90 wins and a playoff spot. 90 wins certainly is still on the table, although if they play the way they did yesterday, no shot. I said this would be JT's last season as a Philly. That is still on the table. Uh, the last one that's still kind of on the table, I would say, and I don't necessarily see the Phillies doing this, but I said Rob Thompson would be fired. He's still here. For how long, I don't know. But those were the good ones or the inconclusive ones. The bad ones were just bad. Marsh certainly has not been the Phillies' best outfielder, although I guess you could make a case he is, but none of them really are doing all that well. Bryce is certainly not an MVP candidate. Hopefully, he's able to come back. He took some pitches or batting practice live yesterday. I guess he's going to continue to work on that this weekend and see what goes on down in Atlanta. I guess possibly early next week he could be back. Jose Alvarado was on his way to becoming the closer of the team, and then completely just who knows what happened with him. He got suspended. Uh, Christopher Sanchez maybe is the second best pitcher on the Phillies staff. Uh, maybe. I think I'd probably give that nod to Ranger right now. So not a good first half of the season for my bold predictions, but there's still a lot of season left. But Phillies Braves tonight, they look to sort of get back on track. And I don't even know if I'm expecting a win tonight, as long as they can just go out and possibly score more than one run, get more than four hits. They're going to need it probably with Mick Abel on the mound. Hopefully, he's able to bounce back. And I think this is a good measuring stick for him to see where he is as a pitcher in this rotation. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, Sixers made a pick yesterday in the second round. They took Johnny Broom from Auburn, who's listed as a center, but he's only 6'9". Great rebounder, great defender, hard worker. I like this pick, and it seems as though they went with a theme where they're trying to get certain types of guys in on their team and sort of build that culture. I don't know if that's Nick Nurse's influence, whether it's Daryl Morey or a combination of the two. But I like it, and it provides a little bit of insurance in case they're not able to bring back Gershon Yabusele, who I would love to have them bring back. But they currently don't necessarily have a power forward on the roster. So I still look for them to be active. And then it was announced yesterday that VJ Edgecombe would wear number 77. First time in Sixers history, someone is wearing number 77. I got to admit, I kind of like it a little bit. But that was the Sixers draft. I give it a solid B, B plus. They certainly went with a theme. I like Edgecombe. I think Broom could provide something. Certainly needs to work on his shooting, but I don't hate the pick there, especially for a second rounder. So we'll see what happens now that free agency is going to start kicking up, whether or not they can bring back Yabusele, who I 100% would bring him back if they can somehow afford it. I still would not be surprised if there's a trade. I don't know if anybody's going to want Paul George, but if they can somehow get somebody to take that contract, yes, please sign me up. But it's the Flyers draft tonight, NHL draft tonight and tomorrow. And the Flyers have a ton of options here. I mean, they're picking number 6. They have 2 other first round picks, 3 or 4 more in the second. So they have 7 picks in the first 2 rounds. Certainly, Danny Briere could be active. He could stand pat. But I expect them to be very, very active. And I think if you have the opportunity to move up, you have to take that opportunity. They have the draft capital. They have a ton of needs. So if they take all 3 first round picks, that wouldn't be an issue either. It should be interesting and entertaining then to see what they do. Um, but let's go. They need a big center. Certainly some big centers in this draft. So Danny, Keith Jones, let's get it done. All right, yesterday's trivia question. I asked you who were the other number 1 picks in Sixers history. They selected Charles Smith, number 3 in 1988, traded him for Hersey Hawkins, Jerry Stackhouse in 1995, Joe in 2014, and Jaleel Okafor in 2015. And if you paid close attention in yesterday's podcast, I gave you 2 of the answers, Joe and Jerry Stackhouse. All right, let's do some quick housekeeping. Obviously, follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok, on Instagram at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont. Continue to spread the word as we grow this thing. And if you want highlights, I have them on my social media, including my Facebook as well as my LinkedIn. But let's continue to grow this thing. Let's have some fun. It is Fridays with AI. I don't know if AI, but this is his hometown, so maybe he will show up. This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, a growing community of diehard fans turning their sports passion into something special. Whether you're looking for unique shows, want to launch your own podcast but don't have the time, or need production services, theclashingconferences.com has everything you need. Explore fan-driven content, become a member, or tap into their media services to level up your brand. That's clashingconferences.com, where fans' voices get heard.
It's time for Fridays with AI, where we ask AI to rewrite Philly sports history. Every Friday, only on This Day in Philly Sports History.
Hey, that's right. It is time for Fridays with AI. And Fridays with AI is always brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com, check out their Philly sports based apparel, everything they have, great things happening. Uh, Devin Cassidy, Ryan's daughter, designed a shirt where the proceeds benefit CHOP. Talked about CHOP yesterday, how important it is to our family. So go support Devin. The shirt's awesome. And go to Philly Goat. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery takes 10% off your order. And I thought today for Fridays with AI, due to the fact that the Phillies were just so miserable over the weekend in Houston, let's have some fun. And I asked AI to take all 8 of the teams that the Phillies have had that have went to the World Series and simulated an 8-team round robin tournament for seeding purposes, and then a double elimination tournament to see who was the best Phillies World Series team. And the round robin's results, not really a ton of surprises there. The 2008 Phillies dominated. They went 6-1 in round robin play. Ryan Howard hit 345, 5 homers, and 13 RBI. But it was Cole Hamels who carried the way. Went 3-0, 21 strikeouts with a 1.85 ERA in his 3 starts. The 2009 and 1980 teams both went 5-4. Mike Schmidt had 4 homers and 11 RBI. The 93 team went 4-3. The 83 and the 2022 teams both went 3-4. 1950 went 2-5, and the 1915 team went winless. Again, not really any shockers there, but on to the double elimination tournament results. The 1915 and the 1950 teams were eliminated early. The 1980 team lost early to the 2008 team, but progressed nicely through the losers bracket to get to the final. They beat the 2022, the 1983, and the 2009 teams before losing to the 2008 team, who rolled through pretty much the entire tournament, round robin and double elimination. The MVP of the entire tournament was Cole Hamels, who just dominated in the round robin, went 3-0 with a 1.85 ERA in the double elimination, 27 strikeouts. He was just dominant 2008 Cole Hamels. Some other key stats: Ryan Howard hit 348 in the double elimination with 4 homers and 12 RBI. Mike Schmidt added 3 more and 9 RBI. Steve Carlton was pretty solid. Lenny Dykstra was quietly solid for the 93 team. But AI thinks that the 2008, of all of the teams that went to the World Series for the Phillies, was the best. But what do you think? Who's the best Phillies World Series team? I might say the 2009 team was actually better. They just couldn't get it done against the Yankees. But what do you think? Who is the best Phillies team to go to a World Series? Hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. Get that. Anything else Philly sports related off your chest? Lots to talk about today. You can also hit me up on any of my social media as well as the Discord channel. Hit the first link in the description for the access to the Discord channel, which is live. All right, that all brings us to June 27th. And on this day in 2010, the Phillies completed a 3-game series against the Blue Jays with an 11-2 win at Citizens Bank Park. Jamie Moyer went 7 innings, gave up 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. Both runs, though, came on a Vernon Wells home run. For Jamie Moyer, it was his 506th career home run giving up, breaking the tie he had with Robin Roberts for the most home runs given up in Major League Baseball history. Jamie would end his career and still is atop that list. Might be one of those records that nobody really talks about, but likely will never be broken. but 522 home runs in a career given up by Jamie Moyer. He also went over 4,000 innings for his career that year, becoming the 40th pitcher to ever go over 4,000 innings. Ben Francisco went 3 for 5 with 2 RBI, 2 double. J. Roll had 3 hits and 2 RBIs, and this was an interesting game because even though it was at Citizens Bank Park, the Phillies were the away team. And this series was moved from Toronto due to safety concerns due to the G20 Summit that was happening up in Toronto. And they treated it like a true Toronto Blue Jays home game, except for it was packed with Phillies fans, and it was at Citizens Bank Park. Phillies hit first. They wore their road gray uniforms. The Fanatic, however, these are the things I wonder, so this is why I research it. The Fanatic did not wear his gray road uniform that day, but they played under American League rules. Ryan Howard became the first player in Major League Baseball history to hit at a National League park in a regular season game. Phillies did take 2 of 3 of this series. Roy Halladay pitched game one, and he did amazing. Unfortunately for him, it would have been his return to Toronto, and he was not able to do so. But a wild weekend in Philadelphia as the Phillies took 2 out of 3 from the Blue Jays on this day in 2010, but they played as the away team. And I think if I remember back, I think what they did, they split the revenues and things like that. So Toronto did get something out of it, but just a wild one. And Ryan Howard became the first National League player to be a DH during a regular season game at in Major League Baseball history. And that does lead us into today's trivia question. Ryan Howard was the first to hit. Technically, it wasn't a home game, so he was the first to hit at a National League park. But who was the first Philly to be designated hitter in a regular season game back in 1997 up in Boston? Get your answer to me any way you can. Social media, Discord, call or text it back to the Future Voice and Text line. But who was the Phillies' first regular season designated hitter in team history back in 1997 up in Boston? And it's Friday. We're feeling good. I'm going out golfing. I'm going to give you a little bit of a bonus trivia question. Who was the first Phillies player to ever DH in any game? And to get this one, you have to know the rules of Major League Baseball and the progression of the rules. So this is a little bit of a tougher one, but it's a bonus. Who's the first Philly to ever be a DH in a Major League Baseball game? So 2 questions, both DH related. Who was the first regular season DH for the Phillies back in 97? And then who was the first Philly to be a DH in any game, non-spring training? Hit me up on the Discord, any of my social media. Let me know your thoughts on that. Let's have some fun on a Feel Good Friday. I'm going to be riding around in a golf cart, so it'd be a good day to come over to the Discord channel and have some fun. All right, finally today, our greatest individual season in Philly sports history tournament rolls on, slowly getting through the second round. Let's recap yesterday's Flyers region matchup. Bernie Perrant from 73-74 knocked off Eric Lindros from 95-96 with 62% of the vote. He is moving on. Very chalky right now in the Flyers regional. But it's time for a Sixers matchup. And this one is a good one for a Friday. This one will be up all weekend. So be sure to get your votes in for this. We have the number 4 seed, Allen Iverson from 2000, 2001. He's the MVP, All-Star Game MVP, All-NBA, led the league in scoring 31.4 points per game. Ironically enough, we just talked about him the past couple of days. Jerry Stackhouse was the second leading scorer in 2001 in the NBA. Just a titch under 30 points per, or just a hair under 30 points for Stackhouse. But AI added 2.8 steals per game, which led the league, 4.6 assists, almost 4 rebounds a game. And of course, we'll all remember it for the magical playoff run where he was absolutely outstanding throughout that playoff run, whether it was against Milwaukee, whether it was against Toronto, the Lakers. AI brought it, and we talked a lot about that yesterday. He is the number 4 seed. He's going up against the number 5 seed, Wilt Chamberlain from 1966-67. Statistically, not one of Wilt's best seasons, and I know I use that term loosely because His worst seasons are better than multiple guys' best seasons, but Wilt averaged 24.1 points per game, 24.2 rebounds, shot 68% from the floor. He was the MVP, was an all-star, all NBA, and led the Sixers to their first ever championship. This is a tough one, but I think because of all he did, I would probably go AI on this. But let me know your thoughts. Get your vote in any way you can. Social media, Back to the Future voice and text line, Discord channel, anything you can. Get that vote in. But whose season was better? Allen Iverson from 2000, 2001, or Wilt Chamberlain from 1966, 67? Get it in. You have all weekend to decide. Let's have some fun. On this day in 2010, Phillies beat the Blue Jays 11-2 at Citizens Bank Park. Jamie Moyer got the win, went over 4,000 innings for his career, but gave up a major league record 506 career home run. He still sits atop of the major league list on that. Probably never will be broken. You got to pitch a long time in order to give up 522 home runs. But that happened on this day in 2010. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on Sixers, what you think of their draft. Get geared up for the Flyers. Tell me who you think the Flyers should take. Let me know your thoughts on the best, lots to talk about, best Phillies World Series team of all time. Vet about anything you want. Don't forget the trivia question, first DH in a regular season game, and then the first DH ever in Phillies history. If you're bored this weekend, be sure to check out our friends over at Lotwin. Get your 3D custom hype chain. Go to lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD, and get hype with a custom hype chain. All right. Hopefully, this sound came out good. It was kind of noisy there, but you know what? Here we go. Just a reminder, we will not be here this weekend. I will be back on Monday where we will rewind the weekend, let you know how the Phillies make out down in Atlanta, what the Flyers do in the draft. And the Union have a game on Sunday as well. So lots to talk about on Monday. But go have a great weekend, everybody. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for June 27th, 2025. My name is Jim Montgomery. It's a feel good Friday. It's much cooler than it has been all week. So go out and enjoy it and feel good. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.